Welcome back to the channel. This is Can I Be Ernest, reporting live from paradise. For those of you who are new to the channel, when I'm not making videos of interest, I'm usually doing some type of social commentary. From my car, in the park, today, in paradise. Why? Because everyone else does. As I sit here and do some reflecting, first and foremost, I want to thank a lot of the new subscribers to my channel. It's a slow build. I'm just looking to connect with like minds who have perspectives on life, maybe different takes, unconventional takes on life, as I do. And I do appreciate the newcomers and those who have been supporting me over the recent weeks. But as I sit here and reflect on what is my last day of vacation, I must admit, I'm a little heartbroken. A lot of people watching who, are pro-USA are gonna say, well, we're in the greatest country in the world. So if you don't like it, leave. And I think a lot of people are listening. And I'm at the point now in life where I'm seriously gonna consider that. The toughest part about vacationing is the departure date. I just noticed a shift in my mood when I woke up this morning, realizing that in a few hours I'm going to be on a flight heading back to a place that I was born at. And I'm not happy. I'm unhappy. Now I understand. Things like this, that's not every day for a lot of us. Those of you who live on the tropics, this could be boring to you. And you seek the excitement of the fast living of the United States, the fast life of the cities, New York, LA, and Miami. Some of you guys can't wait to head over to the States to experience that. As someone who was born and raised in the US, I'm over it. I'm over it. To me, this is life. It really is. I have no problem waking up in the morning, brushing my teeth, taking a shower, drinking some coffee, and just sitting in front of the sea for hours and hours at a time. I have no problem. Where I can perhaps work as a cashier at a resort, at a villa. Instead of the capitalist society that we live in the States, where we're always trying to go up the ladder and make the most money and have the fanciest car and the biggest home and the dog and make the wife or the husband happy. There's no worries when you're outside of that zone. No one's thinking about that, man. I'm not saying when you go to other countries, people aren't looking to live an affluent lifestyle. Of course they are, but the pressures are different. The attitudes are different. There's no reason after about 3-4 days of sun, water, good food, a few smiley faces, more smiley faces from the locals than like the tourists. I do notice when you go on vacation, for some reason, and I won't get into this in this video, but a lot of the tourists kind of look at you funny, kind of like, what are you doing here? Especially when you're in a country, I don't know, where a lot of people look like myself. Those that don't look like me kind of give you that look like, what are you doing here? You can't afford this. And, story for another video. But for the most part, the hospitality that you get here and other places in the tropics, Caribbean islands, like, we don't get this back home. We don't get this in the States. Being a New Yorker, we frown at each other walking down the street. There's very little pleasantries when passing somebody. There's always a stare down. Living in certain parts of the country, road rage and anger. I've been following the news on vacation. I see in New York City where a rider got into a confrontation and punched somebody in the face for sitting too close to him. I got to go back home to that. And thankfully I don't live in New York anymore, but I got to go back home to that type of stuff. Just to the moods and the anger and the attitude. And it's just like, man, why do we tout ourselves as this greatest country in the world? Is it because we can make so much money and we have freedom of speech? And is that the reason that we're the greatest? That there's no dictatorship here and we can just make, like I said, a great living? And what makes us the greatest country in the world? Because I feel stressed when I'm back home. And my lifestyle is pretty simple. You know, I've accomplished some things, I've done some things, I've met some people, but the stress is different. The gloom and doom of living in the States, I don't even have the words for it. I don't. I should be able to, hop on a plane and be happy to touch ground, and here I am crying about it because I'd much rather just swim with the fishes like I just did about an hour ago. There's something about U.S. living that's lost, and it's not spoken about enough. Forget social media. We already know that's a shit show. There's something about the attitudes that shifted over the last 50 years, and I haven't even been here 50 years. But just watching history, from style of dress to just, like I said, everything, something shifted in the culture of the United States, where those who live outside of the States think that's awesome. But for those of us who live there and breathe it every single day, we notice the change. We've noticed the shift. And who wants to go back home to that? There's a sense of freedom in these other places that we don't get at home. Again, I don't care about freedom of speech as much. I'm not somebody who's looking to, stir the pot. I'm just not. I believe in law and order. I do. But this right here, man, like, you can't beat this. You can't. Maybe those of you who live in Florida who wake up to this type of stuff, whatever. I didn't grow up around an ocean or a sea. I grew up in a city, so this is heaven to me. But again, the point of the video is not really to show off my backdrop and all that stuff. Anyone can hop on a plane and travel. But it's more, why does the attitude shift when you have to go back home if you live in the States? I can stay out here for a year and be fine. Eat fruits, drink coffee, learn different languages. There's something missing in the U.S. There's something cultural missing. Do we even have a culture in the U.S.? It's just, there's an influx of every culture. What do we have in the U.S. that I'm missing, that perhaps I'm taking for granted for all the years that I've lived there? What am I missing? There's got to be something intriguing about the U.S. that makes you want to stay there forever. Again, I do understand, living on the tropics, this could get boring to some people. But in the U.S., there's a need for more. So when I wake up and I look at my settings, I'm satisfied, but it's an empty feeling still. There's an emptiness. Why is there an emptiness? What is U.S. culture missing that can maybe turn my thoughts around? Because right now, I'm all about this kind of lifestyle. And I mean, if I'm fortunate enough, I'm going to figure it out to make this an everyday scenario here on out. Because I notice my vibe is just different. I already see it now when I get off the flight. I already see it now. I'm just gonna have the distinct face. I already see it. God forbid it's a gray day when I head back. If it's a gray day out there, forget it. I might flip somebody to the bird. But this is living, man. This is life. And for those of you who've never traveled, do yourself a favor and just see the world. Get that passport stamped. And even if this bores you, so what? Be bored for about 3 or 4 days. It's nothing better. U.S. culture is missing something, and I'm determined to figure out what it is. We're the greatest country in the world, but I don't feel that way. The politics, the antics of everyday people, music, this, that, it's just something's off. Something's off, which is why I seek an escape. Something's off. So feel free to enlighten me in the comments. Is there something in U.S. culture that keeps you grounded, keeps you staying put? Is there anything about U.S. culture that you're intrigued by that I'm perhaps missing out on? Thanks for watching.